at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch night guy.
Yeah.
If Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. And again,
I don't think that I would ever consider having a debate about whether Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is a proper fight between two bona fide champions. I think Jake Paul is someone that's creating a lot of opportunity for himself and using sport as the anchor for it. And would I watch it? No. And do I value it?
Joe Rogan cautions that Jake Paul is entering extremely risky territory by even thinking about facing Anthony Joshua. Rogan emphasizes that Joshua is an Olympic gold medal winner and among the strongest boxers of this generation. He thinks Joshua would aim to make an example of Jake to prevent him from challenging top fighters solely for cash. Rogan notes the gap in skill is so large that the bout could end harshly for Jake.
If he beat Anthony Joshua, good Lord. Good Lord. I mean, that's a big if. Right?
I mean,
Anthony Joshua,
I do not think,
Olympic gold medalist, former heavyweight champion of the world. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good Lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yeah, I just think it's all about the promotion or whatever. I have no idea what the actual motivation is for that fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch.
Wade Plemons, host of the Wade Concept podcast, strongly warns Jake Paul that by taking on Anthony Joshua, he is exposing himself to serious physical risk. Plemons notes that Jake weighs around 90 kilograms while Joshua competes at roughly 111 kilograms, creating a huge difference in size and strength. He stresses that choosing fights for entertainment is one thing, but stepping into the ring with a veteran heavyweight with Olympic credentials is another. Anthony Joshua is an Olympic gold medalist. After all, Plemons argues that if Jake is knocked out by Joshua, he may never fully recover, emphasizing that this is more than a mismatch. It could be life-changing. He suggests Jake's pursuit of fights for money is blinding him to the real danger he faces.
This fight, one, yes, that's the former heavyweight champ. Why is he fighting Jake Paul? And two, why is Jake Paul putting his health and well-being on the line? Because someone asked me on Twitter, Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again, it's boxing, not MMA. Jake has a little more experience, but we're talking about a massive size difference. AJ's still relatively young and still relatively got something left in the tank, and he's only fought the world-class guys for the last 10 years. This would be Jake's not only hardest fight, most dangerous fight of his career. If Jake is doing this, it could signal the last one. I'm not even joking. This could signal Jake being like, I'm having one more of these and I'm out. Because where do you go from Anthony Joshua? We'll get into that part in a second, but the Netflix thing. We know that Anthony Joshua is an exclusive fighter to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has stated that multiple times. AJ, I'm pretty sure, even has a piece of DAZN. I could be wrong about that, but he signed a mega deal years ago with them. So for this fight to take place on Netflix would mean DAZN would say, you can have one of our biggest cash draws, and I may be in a revenue share thing, or maybe Netflix pays them some money, but you can have our biggest cash draw and we don't have an affiliation with it. That seems a bit unrealistic. But having said that, this isn't a report from anybody in the camp. This is not MVP saying it. This is not Eddie Hearn saying it. This is Mike Coppinger, who I guess has talked to people in the camp. But an independent source saying that they are finalizing a deal. Not that they're in talks. They are finalizing a deal. So this is, again, we're talking 1 yard line, first and goal.
Boxing Kingdom reported on X that Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is currently under negotiation as a professional boxing match. This would not be an exhibition and would follow official Queensberry rules. The announcement confirms that the bout is being seriously considered under full professional regulations rather than as a casual event. If finalized, the fight would follow standard professional protocols with sanctioned referees and official scoring, emphasizing the high stakes and real risks for both fighters. Rumors that the fight could happen in December are spreading across the boxing world. However, Eddie Hearn, Joshua's longtime promoter, calls the reports premature, stating no formal contract have been signed and much of the coverage is speculative at this point. Meanwhile, Ariel Helwani, veteran MMA and boxing journalist, notes that the volume of discussion suggests something is occurring behind the scenes. Helwani argues that when rumors gain this much traction, they often indicate a real event, potentially at the end of this year or early next. Despite Hearn's caution, Helwani believes the fight could happen sooner than expected.
Joshua and Jake Paul are finalizing a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December in Miami. Sources tell Ring Magazine Paul steps up massively to fight the former heavyweight champion after his exhibition with Gervonta Davis was canceled. Major props to Paul. So there you have it. In the midst of all this, I did reach out to Eddie Hearn, as did Gareth, and he said, "We have spoken, but nothing close, and I doubt he would be so crazy." He being Jake. I then asked him, "Would you say this report is premature?" He said, "Absolutely." And then I said, "Can I attribute this to you?" And he said, "Yes." And so what do we make of this, guys? Do we think there's smoke to this fire? PT, what do you think? You think this is something that could actually happen? This would be within the next month, right? This would be sometime between now and probably December 19th or so, in that time frame. What do you think?
I think it's a huge fight. You know, I didn't expect this at all. Usually when Jake is in a fight, the odds feel like they're stacked very much in his favor. This is the complete opposite of that. I'd very much agree with Gareth A. Davies' take, which was I'd expect Joshua to obliterate him in a boxing match. I mean, look what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou before that Dubois fight. Like, I mean, it was a completely different affair than the Tyson Fury fight. I think, having heard Eddie Hearn's update and having looked at that tweet again, it feels like boxing's equivalent to the old in the works reporting that we used to see in MMA an awful lot, right? Like when we weren't quite sure, maybe one side had verified that this fight is happening, but you can't get the other side to commit, and it's in the works. It's a huge fight. The one thing I will say is, why would you want that out there? Why would the Ring report this? Why would someone give them that information if it wasn't going to happen? Now, because everything else pales in comparison to this, as far as I'm concerned. Every other fight that they had perspective or potential, I don't think it's as big as Anthony Joshua. So I don't know.
This isn't a ring fight, right? This isn't a ring fight. Anthony Joshua is tied to DAZN. Anthony Joshua has a relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh and Riyadh Season. The Ring is
MMA Fighting shared on X Leon Edwards' response to ongoing speculation about a possible Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua bout. Edwards remarked that if AJ does not finish him in 1 or 2 rounds, the fight must be fixed or something unusual is going on. His statement emphasizes the vast difference in skill, power, and experience between the fighters. Edwards suggests that Joshua's dominance is anticipated and that any prolonged fight would be unexpected. The remarks from a top UFC welterweight champion highlight how serious and risky the matchup would be and how much doubt exists regarding Jake Paul's ability to handle Joshua's strength.
You've seen this fight's in the works, Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. As a Brit, how do you evaluate?
I've just seen that. Someone just told me about that. That's mad. Fair play to Jake Paul, first of all, for taking it. But if AJ doesn't knock him out in like 1-2 rounds, then I feel like the fight must be fixed or something, because I'm going to Anthony Joshua, obviously, for the KO. So yeah, when is it, you know?
It's going to be next month they're working towards.
Oh yeah, sick. Yeah, I'm going AJ for the win.
Cheers.
Francis Ngannou, the former MMA heavyweight champion turned boxer, previously faced Anthony Joshua and suffered a devastating knockout, demonstrating that Joshua's power and heavyweight skills are genuine. Jake Paul had talks about facing Ngannou, which was already a daring move given Francis's dangerous reputation. However, attention has now shifted to Joshua, who poses an even greater challenge. Jake is now confronting a fighter who not only defeated Ngannou, but has repeatedly shown that his size, speed, and technical ability at heavyweight make him a formidable opponent. Essentially, Jake is targeting someone who beat a dangerous fighter like Ngannou, a risk with huge potential reward. Earlier discussions focused on Jake Paul versus Francis Ngannou, but Francis publicly refused, calling it disrespectful and stating he would not waste time facing a crossover boxing influencer.
With Jake and everything's wrong with Francis. He can go with Francis. So now all of a sudden you start satisfying both ends of this. Okay. So when that falls through, the rumor is that Francis and Jake are still in talks. Even though Francis did not come through on the event he was offered and the date he was offered, MVP and Netflix may be willing to reschedule everything and still make him part of it. And Francis' big statement was just, hey, this doesn't make sense. It's not what I'm looking for. Doesn't make sense. Okay. That's not my business. I can't be mad at Francis for that. That just cost Francis a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That just cost Francis life-changing money. I can't be mad. If I'm mad at Francis, then I got my way. He cut off his nose to spite his face. I can't be mad at him. He's already been punished. What good does it do me to be mad at him? All right. Well, then you bring in Joshua, and Joshua shows you how it's done. Right? Joshua and Francis are not remarkably comparable. I mean, not only did they box, they're not remarkably comparable, but in the world of boxing and just the accomplishments. I mean, you take Joshua Benson, an Olympic finalist, for goodness sakes, right? Just like lifelong, very well known. Multiple generations of boxing ties. You know, go all the way back to Klitschko. Go all the way back. You couldn't go before Klitschko was there first, but you go all the way back to Klitschko. Anything that has ever happened in the sport of boxing says you can tie Joshua to. And he's a professional, and above everything else, he's a real boxer. So if he is to say something makes sense, then it makes sense. Right? If you have Joshua's opinion of does this make sense to... Now, none of us know what sense mean. We don't even know if he's spelling it with an S or a C. None of us can define or tell you what this means. It makes such little sense that Francis can't even tell you why it doesn't make sense. But again, I can't be mad at Francis. He already pissed down his own leg. So, but if you could have Francis's opinion of what in the world of boxing or combat or money or business or sport makes sense, like Francis's level of success is not remarkably